Good day, viewers. My name is Uzoma Agochuku Benjamin from Organization for Human Rights and Liberties International. Today we'll be talking about human rights and its importance in the society. And here with me we have the Executive Director of Organization for Human Rights and Liberties International, who will talk to us about the vision, the mission of the organization, and the importance of the respect to human rights and liberties. You're welcome, sir.
Organization for Human Rights and Liberties International was incorporated sometime in 2010, and it has been operating, laying more emphasis on its focal group, the poor, the illiterate, and the ignorant. From 2010, we undertook a study as to why there is lack of peace, why there is crisis in almost every society, in almost every country, in almost every continent of the world. In the course of our study, we discovered that one thing is central and vital to all the crises, that there is a high rate of disrespect to the rights of citizens, to the rights of individuals, to the rights of groups, to the rights of group of people, to the rights of communities. Equally, we discovered that the more there is disrespect to the rights of the people, the more you have the crisis. The more there is dispute, the more there is lack of peace. Thirdly, the study revealed that without peace and unity in any society, that there cannot be progress, there cannot be development. And where there is lack of development, the standard of living of the people are bound to be low. That is why you have high GDP today, but low standard of living. That is why in every society today, most especially undeveloped society, you have bad economy. Because the more you disrespect the rights of the people, the more they are hardened, the more they are pushed to the wall, the more they fight back. And that is why there is crisis, there is insecurity. Why is there more relative peace in developed world? Because they have developed the process through which the rights of the citizens are respected, the abuse to the rights of the citizens are redressed, and the welfare of the people because you have the vital right of any person is right to life. And you cannot talk about right to life without welfare. There are basic things that you must give to life, that are the life is entitled to, and they are part of the rights to life. And the developed governments have seen that it is better that they spend little money to calm the nerves of people down than the money they will use in buying arms and buying ammunitions, spending on high budget on security, for internal security, for internal maintenance of peace and order. So it is only and until these rights are maintained, observed, maintained, and respected. The more it is, the more there is security, the more there is peace. The more it is denied, the more the crisis, the more the dispute, the more the insecurity. So everybody cherishes his rights. There is no person whose right is denied today that will be happy. If he cannot do anything, that does not mean that he has accepted it. That does not mean that he is happy with it. That does not mean he is at peace with it. No. That he cannot do something today does not mean that he cannot retaliate tomorrow. When a right of a person is denied or abused or disrespected, a seed of discord, a seed of crisis, a seed of dispute has been laid. It might not be today. So let us look at these crises and see what are the agitations of this people. What is the agitations genuine? Is it honest? If it is honest, there's nothing that cannot be negotiated. When Israel started bombardment of Gaza, we were crying in this organization that cannot be a solution to the crisis. Count the number of people that have died. Count the amount of ammunitions. The ammunition manufacturers in Europe and America have sold. And then count the number of people that have died. Where are they now? They are now talking about negotiation. They are now talking about settlement. They are now talking about dialogue. These are the only reasons, things that can bring peace. If Israel could not be exterminated when they were killed to finish, if that act did not stop the crisis of the Jews until 1948, went through a round table. Issues were handled, were tabled, were discussed. Definitely, it shows that arms and ammunition can never be the route or the path to peace. The Biafran issue was handled for 3 years. Destructions done. About 3 million people killed or 6 million people killed. But today, those issues for which the war was fought, for which the war was waged, the issue of marginalization and the issue of one Nigeria are still in top burner today. Have they been settled? They have not been settled because there has not been a genuine tackling of whether they are denial of rights of those people who are saying they are being marginalized. If they are being marginalized, is there any explanation to it? In the Northwest, what is the root cause of the devastation? A school in the North. And most of our travels then, as a student, was in the night because it was a peaceful thing. I've never gone into Sokoto any time in the day. It has always been in the night. I've never left north to east any day, anything in the day. It has always been in the night. It was a peaceful thing. But today, there are crises everywhere. And nobody is making genuine effort to look at what are the agitations of this one. Let us copy His Excellency Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Or he initiated or started handling that in the South. But today, the South that used to be
the militants,
the city of the militants, is today the most peaceful. So it means we can handle these things, except that we have not wanted to do it, or we have refused to use a better approach to it, which is looking at what the agitations are. People say, they don't know what Boko Haram is agitating. It's not true because you have not wanted to listen to what the agitations are. Because you believe that, why should we listen to them? If America can negotiate with terrorists, I do not see why we should be wasting all these resources and human beings.
Okay, just like you. Now, looking at Nigeria, Nigeria is the largest African country in the world with over 371 ethnic groups. So how do you think it will be easy to convince this number of persons, over 200 million persons in Nigeria? How do you think it will be easy to convince these persons to have the same ideology, to live together in peace and harmony, and to respect each other's rights? Because I think probably there are some former presidents who probably must have tried to achieve this goal, but due to one reason or the other, it keeps perpetuating up to this level. So what better approach do you think we can employ to achieve this respect to human rights universally, especially in Nigeria?
At least in the 70s, I was active. 80s, 90s. And now I'm in the 20s. In the 20s, there is crisis. In the 70s, there was no crisis. Did any new tribe come into the country?
No.
Are those tribes not there in the 80s?
They've been there.
Don't they have their rights then?
They did.
The only thing is genuine respect to each other's rights. It is when you think today that you are in power and you have superiority over the other person. That is where I'm not talking about having one right. No. You must endeavor to respect the right, understand that the other person has a right, and that his right starts where your own ends. So if you decide to extend your right, what you are doing is suppressing his own right. Presidents have made efforts. How genuine are the efforts? How genuine are the efforts? Some people blame the Britons that they caused the problem. They brought us together. They brought us together and respected our rights. And it was because of that respect to our rights that we were able to live with less crisis in the 70s, in the 80s, even in the 90s. Human beings are bound to have conflicts. You cannot have zero crisis state. No. But when a man is not supposed to be in crisis 24 hours, 1 week, the whole month, and the whole year. Sometimes crisis comes. It goes. It's the result. Because people come to now look at rights. And then if they are looking at the rights, they will not be able to determine, honestly, yes, I overstepped my bound. In the process, I abused the rights of the other. Brother, sorry. And the matter ends. And the matter ends. Most of these crises we have in this country today are created by politicians. Because today you think that you could use your power, you could use your might to manipulate a situation and deny people their rights. When you are denying their rights today, that generation you are denying their rights might be a docile generation. That does not mean that they will continue to be docile. One day, they will ask for their rights.
Okay, you said back then in the 70s and the 80s, people respected human rights compared to this present generation.
Yes.
So what actually changed? What do you think is the cause of this, perpetuating an increasing level of abuse of human rights? Is it that it's a result of bad leadership or
dishonesty of the politicians? Dishonesty of the politicians. Dishonesty of the politicians. If our politicians decide tomorrow, or if a group of people decide tomorrow to genuinely pursue the path to peace, the crisis in Nigeria is not anything that cannot be resolved.
all right? Since you believe that this crisis and this abuse of human rights can be resolved, what are the strategies? What are the possible strategies?
First thing is that we discovered in the course of our study that it is only a particular group, the poor, the ignorance, the illiterates, that their rights are being abused. And in the process of abusing their rights, they complain. And those who conspire to abuse their rights, at any time, any one of them is not feeling happy with his group, the poor populace becomes a willing tool in his hands. And he keeps feeding them with falsehood, with dishonest information. He starts using them to cause trouble. Of all the crises that you have had, who are the terrorists? The same type of group that is denied their rights. Who finances them? The same group, members of the same group that deny them those rights. In further study, we discovered why this group lack education. They lack enlightenment. So they are illiterate. They are ignorant.
Let's use the case of the militants, because I think most people feel that them fighting for their rights, it's not an abuse to human rights. Just like the case of the militants who, back then during the time of Yar'Adua, who were terrorizing the elites back then in Bayelsa and some other foreigners who came, who works in the oil company there. They feel that them terrorizing those people and demanding for what belongs to them is them fighting for their rights and not an abuse to human rights.
Somebody is not supposed to. That is why I say wrongful manipulation by a class, by a group. Because your right is not my right. So if I genuinely understand that you ought to have your right, you are supposed to have your right, for me to enjoy my own right, and I give you your right, what are you fighting for? And because you are not fighting, there's relative peace. And because there's relative peace, I can engage in production. I can increase the standard of living of the society. Development will take place. and I will have time to enjoy my life. It is denial of rights that leads to fighting for rights. So if there is no denial, there cannot be fighting for the rights. Crimes are committed in the rural areas, not in the states, not in the urban areas. The roots of the crimes are in the rural areas, not in the urban areas. So give the communities the ability to police their community. Regulate them. There will be relative peace. Like you ask me, what will I suggest to, what will I advise the president? I will advise the president. Why the military? Why the security men are doing their own? Trying to enforce the law, trying to enforce peace, trying to enforce civil order. It is very obvious civil order cannot be enforced. So set up committees that will go into finding what the cause. First of all, you find a cause before you find a solution.
Yeah, civil order can actually be enforced, but naturally, there are some people who are naturally obstinate, who are stubborn. And
yes,
human wants can not be satisfied.
Let me tell you.
Every individual have their own different wants. So how do you tend to bring them together?
Now let me tell you. It is an adage that when a man has two walls, he begs one in order to concentrate and fight another one. Nigeria crisis is over and above the security forces we have. The army is so much overstretched. If, for instance, any external aggression comes in now, they will overrun us because our security forces are overstretched internally, which is not supposed to be. They are not supposed to be involved in internal security or neck deep in internal security. And that is what is happening. They are stretched in the south-south, they are stretched in the southwest, they are stretched in the southeast, they are stretched in the northwest, they are stretched in the north-south, and they are stretched in the north-central. So they are overstretched. So the best is negotiate with those ones that are negotiable and concentrate on those ones that feels that they want war and give them war. When you give them war, because you are concentrated, but you can't give them war when they have genuine contention, when they have something you can say, okay, take this, live with this. What did Musa Yar'Adua what did he do in South? Amnesty. Ended this. some percentage of the burden derivation. That's what they did. And we have relative peace. There is no any of these crises in any of these places that are sophisticated as the militants in the South, because they were having direct contact with ammunition suppliers, foreign ammunition suppliers, and they had money because they took control of several oil wells, producing oil, giving protection to oil bunkers. So they were getting this. They were sophisticatedly equipped. They were having some gunboats. So if that could be sorted out, these ones are because there has not been any person who says, I want to sort this thing out. This group. Go and look into this matter. Let us see what is the problem.
All right. As we round up briefly, what advice will you give to the citizens of Nigeria and
The
other
citizens of Nigeria, we have decided that we are going to have education and to create awareness. 90% of Nigerians are not aware of their rights. And that enables the abusers the opportunity to abuse the rights of these 90% of Nigerians with impunity. They abuse their rights with impunity because this percentage of Nigerian population do not even know the existence of those rights. Where some know the existence of the rights, they don't know how to seek redress. When some know how to seek redress, they don't have the means to seek redress. For instance, let me tell you, the Constitution said you can seek redress in court. You can seek redress in court when you suspect that your right is likely to be breached or infringed upon. But that court has to be High Court. Then tell me how many rural areas that have High Court. How many rural areas in Nigeria where the majority of this population is living that has High Court?
Very few.
So that is saying, I will give you, and taking it with left hand. Giving with right hand and taking with left hand.
Okay, so to those poor and illiterate persons who we know are the major victims of human rights abuse, what advice would you give to them for those ones whose rights are being abused? I don't have the capital, to
That is
afford a lawyer.
That is why
What
the
advice
first
would you give to
thing
them?
we are going to continue this program. We will ask them to tune into this program. They don't need money to now learn. We are going to create an awareness through education of what their rights are, what they should do. And we have created a unit in our organization that takes calls We advise you, if you can finance your this thing, you go. If you cannot, we'll take it up for you. We are a non-governmental charity litigation unit. We have a non a litigation charity unit.
And it's absolutely free.
Yeah, very free. Charity. We advise you. Charity. We don't charge money. We create this education charity. We don't charge money. Because unless the majority of the citizens know their rights, the people who are abusing their rights cannot stop. They cannot stop. But once we are able to reach a larger population of Nigerian citizens, teaching them their rights, those who are abusing their rights will stop. Because those people whose rights are being abused, if they know, yes, this is my right, they will not allow you to abuse it.
All right. Thank you very much again. Once again, Executive Director of Human Rights Organization for Human Rights and Liberties International, Barrister Ifeanyi Chukwu Odumegwu, for your time. The end of today's session on respect to Human Rights and Liberties International. So just as the Executive Director has said, we should all endeavor to respect each other's rights. Without the respect of human rights, there is no possible way we can attain peace, sustainable peace and development in this country. So we've come to the end of today's session. Do well to like, follow, and also share. It's very important to share the Twitter handle, and also we'll leave our number in the description at the end of the video, and take advantage of this opportunity. There's a unit here in the organization that offers pro bono services, and other educational programs. So do well to take advantage of them, and see you next time. God bless you.